Before we start today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We are close to 1,000 subscribers, so I will do a Q&A when we reach this number. Thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoy this video. In the Age of Empires 2 pro scene, it is rare that a defined meta stays around for too long. The game is subject to updates, buffs, nerfs, new DLCs, quality of life and map changes multiple times a year. This means that it's difficult to stay at the peak of your powers without constantly practicing strategies, testing build orders, and staying on top of the meta. Just this year alone, we have had 5 new civs, infantry buffs, changes to Arabia and Arena, and even the announcement of a complete revamp of docks and water units. In a game that is constantly evolving, so must our S-tier players. There is so much that goes into which civs do best on each map, including the civ draft, predicting your opponent's choice and strategy, countering specific civs, and what I wanted to do was find out which civs are actually the most dominant on different map types in S-tier tournaments. In this series of videos, we will look at which civilizations perform best on each map, as well as taking a deeper dive into the most common civ matchups on each map type in S-tier tournaments over the past 5 years. We'll also look at how the meta has changed on each map type over the same period. For some perspective, there is a difference in how popular each map type actually is. This is the distribution of almost 3,500 games since 2021 across these 7 different map types. As you can see, semi-open and hybrid maps make up 56.23% of S-tier tournament games since 2021. This means that we have far more data across these map types than the others. We will still look at each map type on its own, but it's important to mention this as the less data we have, the less we can take away from that same data. Part of the reason there are so many semi-open map games is because Arabia is a semi-open map, and as well as this being the most common map, there is also an entire tournament dedicated to playing on Arabia, and its 6th iteration is due to be played next week. That means that Arabia makes up almost 60% of all semi-open map games since 2021, which is also something that needs to be taken into account. In this video, we're going to start by talking about the most played map type, which are of course semi-open maps. Semi-open maps are land maps that do not start with any walls but feature large woodlines or other elements that make it easy to wall your starting area. Some examples include Arabia, Enclosed, Rocky Forest, Acclivity, and Gold Rush. These are the top 20 most selected civs on semi-open maps since 2021 sorted by win rate. The Chinese dominate in both popularity and effectiveness. The extra villagers at the start in the hands of S-tier players is clearly having a big impact on its win rate. The Chinese only failed to make it into the top 10 most selected civs on semi-open maps in 2 out of the past 5 years. It is the Maya though who are consistently the most popular, having been in the top 10 in every year over the past 5 years. They are the most selected civ on semi-open maps and have a good win rate considering the amount of games they have been involved in. The antithesis to the Maya and Chinese are the Hindustanis and Tatars, who are almost as popular but their win rates are well below 50%. Despite this, these civs are consistently selected on semi-open maps. The Hindustanis have not had a win rate over 50% on semi-open maps in S-tier tournaments since 2021, when they were a different civ, the Indians. In that year, the Indians had a win rate of over 60%, but since the split, the Hindustanis just have not delivered value. It is a similar story with the Franks, whose win rate has plummeted since the heady days of 2021 when they were at 63%, but have been largely abandoned since their 38% win rate in 2023, followed by a 36% win rate in 2024. They have now only been selected once on semi-open maps in 2025, such has been their decline. In terms of historically slightly less popular civ picks, Khmer are just outside of the top 10 of most selected civs on semi-open maps since 2021, but have had the best win rate in both 2024 and 2025, and were in the top 3 in 2023. The Khmer benefit from having a smooth, fast castle, and their villagers can garrison inside of houses. On top of having good light cav and buffed scorpions that benefit from ballistics and a unique tech, they have increased in both popularity and in win rate. The Byzantines have also never been in the top 10 most popular civs over the past 5 years, but do have a 58% win rate. This is likely owing to their cheap counter units, excellent tech tree, cheaper Imperial Age, and indestructible buildings. They are an exceptionally versatile civ that perhaps warrants greater attention from our S-tier players looking at this data. I also wanted to look at what are the most common matchups on semi-open maps. Unsurprisingly, the Chinese and the Maya have encountered each other 18 times on semi-open maps since 2021, but what is surprising is the level of dominance. The Chinese have a 72% win rate against Maya, showing that in a head-to-head, the most popular civ does have a counter. In the Battle of the Extravilles, the Chinese have historically had ready counters to the Maya's strongest units, the Eagle Warrior, Skirmishers, and the Plumed Archer, with their stronger Scorpions and Chukonu. Since the changes, they also now have strong rocket carts too. The Maya have their own strengths though, and a surprising stat is that they boast a 91% win rate against the Tatars on semi-open maps. Whilst the Tatars can make decent CA, skirms and light cav, their biggest strengths are their mobility and their additional uphill bonus. I guess when you are against a civ that has Eagle Warriors and fast plumed archers, those benefits are reduced. Still though, considering the extra range on the Tatars' trebuchets, combined with the Maya's lack of both bombard cannon and siege engineers, I expected this to be closer. Another historically popular matchup was Ethiopians versus Vikings, which has fallen out of popularity more recently. Whilst there have been 13 matches between these civs on semi-open maps, every single one of them occurred in 2021 and not a single one has occurred since. What about our S-tier players then? Well, if we look at the most selected civs on semi-open maps by player, we can see that Maya are popular across multiple top players, including Hera, the Viper, Winchester, Doubt, Leary, Velez, and MBL. Hera has recognized the value of Khmer with his 11 picks and 73% win rate with them, whilst Tato has picked up on the strengths of the Byzantines on this map type and boasts a 67% win rate with them. When we sort by win rate, we can see which players' preferred civs just aren't providing value. ACCM has won only 2 of 9 games as the Hindustanis on semi-open maps, whilst Sito can't quite get to grips with the Mongols. Jordan is one of the few players who struggled to get a tune out of the Maya, and ACCM also finds it difficult with the Chinese. This type of data shows us that the most popular civs aren't always the best choices, and so much of it comes down to playstyle, who you're up against, and civ matchup map to map. When it comes to head-to-heads on semi-open maps, the data isn't too surprising and largely falls in line with what you'd expect. Hera v Leary is a common occurrence, which Hera comes out on top 64% of the time. Tato and Yo is always competitive, with Yo having the slight edge, and Leary and Viper are a dead set 50-50. Hera has really risen above the Viper in recent years, with a 71% win rate on semi-open maps against him since 2021. The Viper does have some joy to take from this though, as he has a 93% win rate over MBL on semi-open maps across 14 games since 2021. Another surprising Stompfest is Hera v Yo, which has occurred 12 times, with Hera taking a sensational 11 wins. Yo just cannot beat Hera on semi-open maps. That being said, there's not really anyone who should give Hera any sleepless nights on semi-open maps at all. Winchester is competitive, taking 7 of the 15 games against Hera on semi-open maps since 2021, but it is worth noting that only 2 of those have occurred since 2022. Finally, let's look at each player's worst civs to play against. If you want to get one over on the Viper, then your best bet is the Byzantines, where Viper has lost 6 out of 6 on semi-open maps. Tato hasn't won in 5 games against the Burgundians, and Jordan only has the 1 win against the Chinese, Maya, and Byzantines. Winchester has trouble with the Khmer with only 1 win out of 6, and ACCM has historically struggled against the Ethiopians. If you want to beat Hera on these maps, then the pickings are slim, but your best bets historically are with the Byzantines, Berbers, Vikings, Malians, and Tatars. This video was good fun to put together, and I'd really like to produce more for each of the different map categories, so let me know which map type you want me to do a video on next, and the highest upvoted comment will be selected. The other options for map types are open maps, nomadic maps, water maps, closed maps, chaotic maps, and hybrid maps. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more of this content.